Planet Tutorial Movie 2, Step 19. Now we add the clouds. Let me close the master earth layer and let me take a note of the time. It's 6:50. I'd like to be done shortly before 7:10. Okay. Now add the clouds. Double click the earth comp in the project window. So let's close this effect window. Double click the earth comp in the project window to open it as a tab. We see how we have the earth living JPEG. It now wants me to drag the clouds living JPEG above that. Let me make this a little bit bigger on screen, and let's set the mode of that to screen, so whatever was black lets you see through the earth. Now we are going to move this. Now I want you to remember or realize that in this file the earth is going to rotate on the y-axis for master earth, which is going to drive earth comp 1 and earth comp 2 because we attached it with an expression via the pick whip. So when it rotates, I don't want the land masses moving at exactly the same speed the clouds move, if you follow what I'm saying. So on the earth comp layer, we are going to type in motion tile. And in motion tile, I'm going to drag the motion tile to the cloud layer. I'm going to hit the E key and we are going to open up motion tile. Now it tells me down here on step 20 to at home, make sure the home key is selected, and let's make sure it's 360 by 180 on tile center, and let's actually hit a stopwatch. Now let's move it to the end key, and I'm going to make the clouds move across the y-axis to 560. Now watch how, if I start at the home key, watch how the clouds move across this two still files with the clouds moving because I've tiled them across the earth. Now I don't think I need to further explain that, so that when it goes back to the main comp we actually have the clouds move at a different rate than the earth. Now let's go to step 21 because it says click the solo button for the earth living layer to temporarily hide all other layers. In this case it's only the clouds. Let's make the hue and saturation on color correction over here in the effect window right to the earth layer. Now up here it wants me to change the cyan, not the master, but the cyan and the blue to -10 for saturation on both. So let's go -10 on saturation and -30 on lightness. Now let's click to the blue and repeat the process. Let's go -10 on, whoops, got the wrong thing there, -10 and then -30. Now what that is doing is it's darkening and changing the hue on the blue water only. Okay, so let's unsolo it and let's go to step 22. Now we add a rotation to the earth, so we click back on the main comp. Click on the master earth layer. Remember, it's been tied in via expressions. Let's hit the E key and open up CC sphere. So all we need to do is, and I said I wanted my earth to start with the United States over on the left hand side. So watch as I open up the rotation. I'm going to manually drag this. Do you see the earth actually turning towards me here? Well, I wanted my Y rotation, which is the pivot point, to have 20 as the degrees. Now I'm going to click a stopwatch for the Y rotation at 20. I'm going to go to the end key and I'm going to have it spin 100 more points. So whatever degree you have, add 100 to it. So I go 120 for me, and now I have it actually, if you watch me quickly do this across the screen, let me click and now grab it again. You can see that the United States and South America are moving. Now do you see how the clouds are moving at a little bit of a different rate, and you can get the feel that they're moving across the ocean at a different rate? Well, makes it, even though it's spinning too fast for total believability, it's pretty cool. Now I save the file and let's go ahead to RAM. And I already did that. I don't want to actually RAM because it's going to take too long to RAM. You go ahead and RAM it. Now step number 23. Now we talk about the lettering. So I'm going to take and compress all of these, hit Command S to save the file. And it wants me to Open the tile PSD, study it for a moment in Photoshop. Would you please do that just so you can see and click to the channel, to the alpha channel, and then click back to the RGB in Photoshop. But what I want to do is make sure the home key is active, make sure the main comp is active, press the home key and drag the title PSD down from up into the project window. So let's go get it and put it at the top. Now, you can see it's right there. Now over here, it's right in the comp window. Let's type in CC cylinder. Now in CC cylinder, let's drag the cylinder right over to here, and then you can see how it wraps around the Earth. Let's hit the E key and let's open CC cylinder here in the timeline, and then let's open the rotation and set the following. Actually, I want to set the radius at first to 105, a little tiny bit bigger. Now, if I want to explain something. I'm going to move the x-axis down so you can see it, so I can just see this. See how if I spin this, and I spun it way too far, but see if I spin this, how if I spin the Y rotation now, see how it actually goes. It's supposed to go in back of the Earth there. See it spin, spin, spin. But now, of course, I can't have it going back of the Earth because I have to split this into two layers. One above the Earth, which is only going to be the back side, or the far side, or the inside, and one above the Earth, which is going to be the outside. So let me Z back that, let me Z back this right to here, and let's go ahead and read number 24. Move the time to 225. So 225, Option Command J, and let's Option left bracket to set the in point of the lettering right there. And then it wants me to set a stopwatch keyframe for X at 12 degrees, positive 12, yes. And then I'm going to go to Y at a negative 210. Now that's going to put me in the proper position so that when it comes around the Earth, it sneaks out and starts its rotation from behind the Earth on the right-hand side. So let's click the stopwatches for X and Y. Now it tells me if we go to number 25, move the time to 13 seconds. So 13 seconds. Let's go to change X to negative 12. So from positive 12 to negative 12, and from a negative 210 to a positive 210 for Y. Now here's where we have to break it into three. Now it wants me to click on the front title and collapse its attributes. Now what I should have done, what I didn't do for you, is on number 24, in the beginning of it, number 24, it said, and I kind of skipped over this real fast, make sure front title is selected. So it said, took me to get it right, open the title PSD, study it for a moment, whatever. Okay, drag it to the timeline. What I should have said there was retitle, drag it to the title layer. Drag title, make sure comp. Drag title, title, title. Now what I should have done is make sure front layer is selected. I actually didn't say that. I'm gonna I'm gonna write something right here on number 23, and I'm gonna put in here rename front title. Now yours will say rename front title. Can't believe I didn't say that. It'll say rename front title in number 23. So Brian's going to do it right now. So I click, hit the return key, and type in front. No matter how many times I do this, I still find mistakes. So now I have the front title named. So I'm going to go to number 25, click on front title, and collapse its attributes. Fine. Good. Let's take this and hit Command D. I also should have told you that it needs to be set on the outside. So on number 24, I'm going to open up the front title again, hit the E key, and I'm going to tell the front title to not be full but be the outside of it. So I'm now going to close this. Now that I've got it done right, click on the front title and hit Command D as it says in 25. immediately hit the return key and rename the behind title. Now, in the behind title, let's take this below the master earth. Now, it wants me to go hit the E key, open up CC Sphere, and instead of the outside, of course, we have the inside. So now you can see if I turn off the front title and I take the spin to here, that I actually have the front title moving around the back of the earth. Look at how it's coming, and it's beautiful. Now I'm going to leave it right here because I'm going to perform the next function. On this one, I need to actually have two masks set. Asks you to do the two masks in number 27. But we're going to go back to the front title for a moment. So I'm going to take the visibility off the behind title, put the front title back on, and I'm going to click to approximately right there. Now what I want you to see is I'm going to just start to show this title right here. Now I'm right at the beginning of the front title. Do you see where I'm circling, how you see that little extra part right there? You're not supposed to see this on the front title till it comes around the earth on the right hand side. So I ask you on the front title in number 26 to set the time to 3:10. So I hit Option Shift J, 3:10, and I'm going to hit the return key and go Option in bracket. Now I've stopped you from seeing that little bit of the front title over here. That was an easy fix. Now the second part of 26 is go Option Shift J, set it to 12, and then go Option right bracket so that you set the out point, so that you don't see the title when it actually comes around the earth on this side. You don't see it sneaking out on that side. Okay, the front title was the easy fix. I'm going to turn off the front title, turn on the behind title, and it wants you to actually, we have to, it says you can't reset the endpoint, so a mask is necessary. Now on this one, I'm going to move the time back to the endpoint at 2:25. I'm going to pre-compose this, so I go to Layer and Pre-compose. In the pre-composed layer, it wants me to move all the attributes into a new composition and leave, read that, it says leave title as behind title comp 1. Fine. Now I'm going to hit Option in bracket to reset that same in bracket here. Now I ask you at this point to set the time around 4. Why did I do that? So you can see when it emerges from the back of the planet on the right hand side. Go get the rectangle tool and draw a large enough box as I tell you to draw in number 27 over on the right. Now that keyframe for the path has to be moved to not at 4. We don't want a keyframe at 4. We want it at 7:28. So I haven't even hit a stopwatch yet. So let me hit MM real fast. Let me move the time to 7:28. And then we hit a stopwatch for the path here. Now it'd be very easy for me to move it at 8 and move this over to the right hand side, but you wouldn't see why I'm doing that. So what I ask you to do is to move the time to 10, which is going to incorrectly place a keyframe right at 10 when I click on the path, hit Command T, grab this and hold the Shift key in the middle of the mask and move it over to the right or to the left. Now do you see how I'm seeing it appear over here, and this is the correct part of the title as it gets towards the end of its rotation. But I don't want that keyframe where I'm circling at 10, I want it at 8. So the proper thing to do now is to hit the return key to accept the mask, Option Shift J, 800. Now I'm going to hit the plus sign, and I want you, so I can see the timeline better, to click that keyframe that got made at 10 and snap it with the Shift key into 8. Now watch how this actually moves. Watch how this mask is showing you the proper, look at how nicely it's letting you see the hole behind the title. Okay, I'll move it forward, move it forward, move it forward. Now watch, this mask is going to snap to the left. Then all of a sudden, right 2 frames later, it's in the right position or the correct position to see the lettering as it emerges around and goes around the back of the planet on the left. So if you have to watch that a couple times, go ahead. Command S to save the file. The time was 7:05. I believe I'm at about the 15-minute mark, and I'm going to go do a little bit more. It said number 28. Okay, only two things left for the lettering. Wants us to darken the inside of the lettering. Now, I've written down there where it says double click the behind the title comp. So let's move this over so I can get at that. Close this. Double click the behind the title comp up here and move this approximately to 4. Why? So you can see this whole thing where I'm circling. Now what I want to do is to open the CC cylinder, and in the lighting of that I want to set the ambience, and in the shading I want to set the ambient or the ambient light. First of all, the direction goes to 0, like it's straight up at noon, and the ambient from 50 to 20. And look at how nicely that has darkened that in behind. Pretend it's shadowed now by the earth, okay? Click back, let's close this, hit save, click back on the main comp, and now you can see how much darker it is over here. Let me switch to the selection tool and click away from it. And now if you would let me turn on the front title, you will see how if I keep this going, you can see how that is actually emerging correctly. Let me move this all the way down. Good. Now you can see how it's emerging correctly and how this is a lot brighter as it moves around to the front of the lettering, and how nice that looks right there. It's gorgeous. Now, what we need to do is to go to the next one. I didn't tell you to actually lighten that up yet. We are going to go to step 26 to create a shadow. So the next movie is going to start on step 29. I'm sorry. And we'll go from there.